This might die sooner, but we can just use because these DJIs are.
That was my phone. Let me silence it. It was like one of those like error messages for like really long.
I know.
Like it's my ringtone.
You can make fake.
Oh, is your ringtone? Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I was like, what? Yeah, me too, actually.
I'm gonna set a timer for like.
There's nothing like
Just
when.
message them like their whole time. Call.
There's nothing like when you're the videographer and you have the cell phone that goes off. There's nothing like that humiliation of it was you this whole time. You're the one telling the whole crew, hey, silence your phones. And you're the one that, okay, great.
Have you seen that movie, is it Babylon?
Yeah, we talked about it.
Me and you talked about it?
Yeah, we talked about it, yeah.
Oh yeah, just like when they're trying to figure out like, who the fuck is that?
Yeah.
And then that one guy dies in the sound room.
Right.
That's so crazy how Hollywood used to be back then.
Right, it still is a bit of craziness, right? Any set, I guess, it's still craziness. They tell you the smallest of things can delay a production, right? I was on a shoot where like this celebrity wanted like a smoothie from this specific spot, but the specific spot was like 2 hours away from set in Malibu. And they had to go and get this guy's smoothie, so when it got there it was warm and the guy was like, I don't want it, it's warm. That was insane.
What was he expecting though? Like at least,
hey,
if he's gonna go there for 2 hours.
I guess, yeah, but...
So it was a 2 hour drive there and back?
I guess 2 hours total. Like,
Oh.
1 hour, yeah. But yeah, still, yeah, you know.
In LA, that's probably 2 miles.
Yeah, that's down the road. It's up the 210 when it closes.
Yeah. No, I seen a picture of that where this guy was traveling like 3 miles and it was like an hour 30 minutes.
Oh god.
It's like shit. How do you even live like that at that point?
Oh man. So we're ready to start?
Yeah. Well,
Okay,
thank you guys. Thank you, Eric. And thank you, Jose, for coming on. Appreciate it the last minute. And for you, yeah, man. I was like, I woke up today, I'm damn, me and Eric gotta do that thing. And then I texted him, like, hopefully he remembered. I don't know how organized you are.
I did have it on my calendar, but lately life has been crazy and
Same.
Finding 10 minutes in a day is sometimes a challenge. So, but I enjoy doing this type of stuff. I enjoy talking to friends and, you know, just spitting out ideas. So
I figured, might as well just have you on. And then when he came, when Jose came, I was like, it clicked. I'm like, why not have Jose on? I was thinking doing it separate. I'm like, maybe let's just put it together and more clips that we can get. Just.
I mean, I love the show. I've been seeing like the last ones, like the ones you have on YouTube. That's my main platform of choice for like procrastination is YouTube. So I saw the one with Thomas. I saw one with Alejandro. I saw the one with Bubbles, I think what the name was.
Yeah, Sam.
I seen like the clips with the business owner. I don't remember.
Dan, yeah.
So that's the show. It's pretty cool.
Thank you, I appreciate it, man. It's something simple. That's where I usually use YouTube to distract myself.
Yeah.
I don't really use TikTok or Instagram,
Right.
but a lot of people do. What's yours?
Mine YouTube.
YouTube?
I watch a lot of architectural videos. I feel like a lot of architects post on there, interior designers post on there also.
Right. It's a lot more of a slow burn, I feel, YouTube, right? It's not like the quick and stuff. I mean, they tried with YouTube Shorts.
Yeah.
And it's been gaining traction, I guess, but it's like, you can tell us, right? I imagine it's like harder to get traction on YouTube Shorts than it is TikTok or Instagram, right?
Yeah, but I catch myself like getting distracted from YouTube Shorts because I'm not used to it. Like I know if I'm gonna go on Instagram or TikTok, I'm gonna see Reels, I'm gonna see TikToks. But when I'm on YouTube and I click a YouTube short and then I keep going down and I catch myself like, oh shoot, I've been on it for a while, for like a minute.
Like 5 hours.
You don't know, it's 2 a.m.
So YouTube's been getting me, and I've been catching myself like.
It's good.
That's so crazy. I would have never expected from YouTube like that.
Right. I find it crazy, like the success YouTube has had because, at least for me, I don't know you guys, but my parents don't even watch Netflix anymore. Like they'll watch YouTube. They'll watch like YouTube videos and like. It's like this very documentary style, I guess, type of thing they watch, right? They watch like this one guy's called Huarache Oaxaqueño. In Mexico, he's kind of like a Mr. Beast type guy where he gives out food to like these very, very poor like people in Oaxaca where places you can't even get to in like car. Like it's super remote. But that's all they watch. And that's like these like 40-minute like to an hour long videos of just this guy going to talk with them. He makes them food and then he buys them food with the money that comes from the channel. And I find crazy that they don't even watch Netflix anymore. They don't watch HBO, they don't watch Hulu, anything. They just watch YouTube. And at least for me, I've seen that. I'm like, wow,
I think it's because YouTube is just so vast. Like there's just so much of everything. Like if you want to watch architecture, if you want to watch interior design, like I said, if you want to watch food, if you want to watch something about a certain city somewhere, like if I'm like from San Ignacio and I want to watch a video about San Ignacio, it's on YouTube. I can't go on Netflix and be like, oh, San Ignacio. There'd be nothing on there because everything is so highly produced.
Exactly, and the difference from like I feel like Instagram and TikTok, those shorts and reels, is that you'll find the whole gamut, right? Like this really, really produced video that's almost a movie, or short films, you'll find a lot of like really, really good ones, to like this person just filming on their phone, and they both have like huge audiences, right?
Exactly.
So I don't know, I love YouTube. I find myself really liking it.
I just put on a lot of audiobooks from YouTube or podcasts, and I'll just put my phone down and I'll just have it in my AirPods. Have it playing. I'm not really watching it. I'll be like maybe 10% watching it, and the rest 90% I'll just be having it in the background instead of music.
Do you have YouTube Premium or no?
No. Or actually, my sister's account that I use, she has the YouTube Premium.
Yeah.
So that's where I'll just turn it off, and then. But if you don't have it, all the ads are so annoying.
That's what I do on PC. You just ad block.
Yeah. They've been cracking down on that. Have you seen that?
Oh yeah, they don't allow it.
So like you have an ad blocker, you can't use YouTube anymore.
That's crazy.
Banned. Anyways, because I imagine people don't care too much about our watching habits.
Well, it would probably let. So my recent like recommendations on YouTube have been like opening up your own business, and because
I think for that it's great too, like for finance stuff, like it just so much good educational content, like just transform your life.
Yes, so that's where it's like I've been noticing like, oh shoot, like I'm so used to entertaining myself now, like looking at like how to open up your business and like tax stuff, like secret stuff. You know how they catch you with the thumbnails.
Yeah,
top 10
but it's a whole science.
secrets.
It's really nice. It's super cool that and it gets you to that good content, right? Where normally you would, just ignore it, but then they do this really good like tagline or thumbnail, and you're like, oh, I have to watch it now, and then you have a good content.
Yeah. I think what else is good about YouTube is how precise it is.
Right.
Like for example, right now I'm working on that 3D stuff for Valley. Is like I wanted to learn how to make a couch cushion. How do you make a couch cushion? Yeah. Somewhere else like you'd have to watch a whole tutorial about all of Blender and all the processes. On YouTube, it's like, oh, here's a 1-minute video on how to make a couch cushion. Like it feels like you have a private tutor right there with you. And that's
or you get to connect with all these voices from all around. Like someone in Mexico could be watching like this content, like this podcast. I shared with you that one of my friends like watched your content. Like he sent me one of your videos that went viral on Instagram, and when he eventually visited me, and I was like, hey, this is the guy you sent me. Like I texted when he sent to me, but like, oh, this is the guy you sent me, like that reel like with the gimbal with the like 20 cameras on it. Isn't that wild that someone in like that, and probably in like Europe or China or something, like your content has so much reach, and like especially the videography niche and the cinematography niche are they're all around the world essentially. The language doesn't even matter too much. Like it's pretty cool, I think, using this platform for like stuff like that. But yeah, essentially, I'm glad to be on the podcast. I think it's a cool idea, bring voice together.
Thank you.
I love like your approach on how you want to. I think I recently saw one of your shorts that said it, but how you want to bring like Victorville to the front, right? You essentially want to bring your community like to the spotlight, right?
Yeah, I always like I've been a community person, especially living in Victorville. That it's just been like it's been good to me and the people that live. But I guess in any community, it just happens to be where I'm in Victorville. So I start noticing like firsthand these business owners and how they recommend you, and word of mouth, how they treat you. When you're on their good side and on their bad side. So it's not all positive. There's a lot of cons to.
And I feel that's where we share a lot of similarities, us three, in our own respective communities, right? Is that obviously the job center of video and content and film is in Los Angeles, right? Like an hour away from where we're at right now in San Bernardino. But we're all like focusing in our communities, like bringing them like up, like look, this is what we are, right? And maybe communities that haven't been like historically great, right? I know San Bernardino hasn't been like, it's been like up and coming kind of like rough neighborhood.
And we all hate Los Angeles.
We've all been, we were actually talking about that before you got here. We were talking about how much easier it is to do business in those cities, you know? Like when I lived in Vegas, I went to like 3 events, and from there I made like 5 business, like potential clients that I could work with.
Right.
And then here it's like you could do as much as you want, and you might only get like 4 or 5 clients, to just from a lot of work and a lot of effort, as opposed to like big cities. You could show up somewhere and a client will find you, you know?
Yeah, it comes to the idea of would you rather be a small fish in a big pond or a huge fish in a small pond, right?
Yeah.
Honestly, for me, because I started out in like those huge projects, those $100,000 projects and all these giant commercial sets, that at one point I was just so tired of this. Like you can only, I like to say, like you can only sell so many Coca-Cola bottles, right? Before you like find yourself devoid of like meaning, right? Like, what am I doing? Like what is my art form? Because at the end of the day, it's still an art form, right?
Yeah.
Putting out into the world. Like, do I really want to be making commercials all my life? Do I really want to do stuff like this? And maybe you do. Maybe you do want to do that. Maybe that's your thing, and that's fine. But at least for me, I want to find like that more meaning, and I kind of found it here in my like, community, San Bernardino now. So I think the trade-off of not having that many clients is worth it, at least for me. I don't know. Maybe you guys can defer.
No, I agree.
You both have families too, so I imagine that affects a lot your decision making. Right? You both have kids. I don't, but I imagine that's also like a big strain. Like, do I want to stay? Do I want to go? Like, where do I find work?
It's so crazy. We were just talking about that today too.
Yeah.
We were having that exact conversation. We were talking about how I had a few opportunities to work for a few festivals, like Popples and Beer and stuff like that, and I turned it down because of my family, because I had kids. And sometimes people don't understand it. I remember I also had an opportunity to work at Milk. Milk is like a huge studio in Hollywood. I got that job through a friend named Chibos. And, you know, Milk is huge. It's like they shoot Rihanna, they shoot all types of artists. The day I was there, the first day I was there, I met Tyler, the Creator. He was
nice.
there. But it just didn't fit, you know, what I was doing.
Right.
Like my family needs. And, you know, it took me away from my kids and from my family. And I felt like, you know, my family to me was more important.
Exactly.
And a lot of people don't understand
100% agree. I think more as like Hispanic males, right? Like we feel like we have to be there for our family, but at the same time we have to provide, right? So we're like, okay, so it's that conflict. Like, yeah, I can go out and shoot. That takes me away from my house for like 20 days, but at the same time, those are 20 days I'm never gonna get back in the lives of these people, right? Yeah. So it's definitely something that I feel doesn't get talked about too much, right? Like when you're creative, it's like, yeah, you post the like hype videos, like, look, I'm filming this music video for this band that has millions of views. Like, I did this video that has 40 million views. Yeah. But then the trade-off is, okay, I'm not there for my family's life. Yeah. And it's rough, right? Like, how do you deal with that?
And then sometimes I feel like when you do accomplish that, you realize that nothing changed.
Yeah.
You know, like I once had through a friend named Noor some photos featured on Vogue, featured on like Bazaar, I think is what the thing was called. But they featured on these big magazines, and before you get there, you think, oh, that's my goal. This is what I want to accomplish. And then when you accomplish it and you realize that, hey, you know, everything is still exactly the same as it was yesterday. Just now I have something in a magazine that people probably will forget tomorrow.
It impresses your colleagues.
Exactly.
But for the rest of the population, it's like, oh, cool, you did a music video that has 100 million views.
Yeah, it's
cool.
Like, cool.
Every now and then they'll play on the TV and they'll be like, oh, look, you're right there.
Yeah.
And they'll be like, nice. But then it's like, okay, that's it.
You know? And that's where it ends. It's not like you are the artist itself that's being promoted.
And here's our special guest, Thomas Robles.
You want to say hi, Thomas?
Hey, Thomas.
Newly engaged.
Yeah, newly
Congrats,
engaged.
Thomas.
Congrats.
Professional glizzy guzzler.
Oh, word? Oh, okay. But it also depends. I mean, I guess, like, how much hands, at least for me, I would think, like how much hands did you have on a project? Because I wouldn't want to be at a project where I'm just the camera guy and then I can't even touch or edit the footage. So like what you were saying, you're so used to working these, $100,000 jobs. But it's like for me, like I like working these small jobs because then I can really, it's my idea, I did the storyboard, I filmed it, I edited it, and I put it together.
Yeah, there's great value in that, right? And just overseeing the whole project, but there's also like this huge stress, right?
Oh, definitely. Well, it depends like on how big the budget is and how good you are with your client.
Yeah.
Like if you're cool, then you guys are both like, hey, you know, I trust you, it's gonna work out. But if it's like more expensive, then it's gonna be, you know, it needs to be my way. It's our money. We're not gonna just give you the money and then trust that you're gonna do it. I mean, just like any studio, like with big budget movies, you know. So like I personally just like the hands-on approach, but eventually, you get old enough or you get to a point in the age where you're just like, I can't do it anymore. I'm gonna have to let other people do that for me, and then just supervise over them.
Yeah, the managing and then becomes a whole thing on itself, right? Because as creatives, I think it's really hard to relinquish that control, right? Like to give that camera away and you to look at it and you're like, I hope it's good, but it's never gonna be to your standard of quality, right? Even if the person is great, it's just never gonna be your style exactly how you want it, right? But you can't be at two places at the same time. Unfortunately, not yet.
Yeah.
Maybe with AI or something. So yeah, it's a great job. I feel. I know we all have like a little bit different backgrounds, but it's kind of cool that it brings us together and we're like here and talking about this. But yeah. So I don't know if you usually do introductions or if you're like.
No, I mean to start it off. I mean,
just,
if you want, then it just makes it like, hey, I'm Andrew.
Right, because we kind of just started off the bat.
Yeah, that's fine. I usually like content when it's like right in the middle because it's just like, oh shit,
just
instead of
in the action.
Hey, it's me, and then people are just skipping the first 10 minutes anyways.
Exactly. You start with the cold.
That's how I am. I'm like, fuck it. Let's look at the timeline and see where the juice part's at anyways.
Okay, I was just worried in case people were watching that were like, but why should I listen to these people?
Fuck them, and they'll figure out the juice and all the education stuff.
Right.
If they watch it, but
right, but I think at least like putting you guys on your laurels, right? At least I know that, for example, you, right? You make these like hundreds of videos that go viral, and you found out this like formula in a way for like social media, and Jose makes these amazing like magazine-worthy photos and like publications, and this like amazing work of like local like 7 artisans or wait, what was the name? No, 77 Dead. Sorry.
Oh.
77 Dead. Sorry, I got it wrong. So these guys know their stuff.
So does Erick. He shot with, was that one? Grupo Firme was one of them?
Grupo Firme, I worked
with Ricky Martin, I see that.
Ricky Martin, Remy Valenzuela. So I think we've all seen kind of a different gamut of different things we've done. And I know I ask about presentations, but one of the best like tips that I got from one of my mentors that was originally the guy I worked with in a production company in Guadalajara. I come from Mexico. I mean, I was born here, but lived in Mexico most of my life, was that nobody cares who you are.
Yeah, exactly.
They care what you do. So I think we started off good on that. Like, this is what we do. This is what we put out in the world, right?
That's another thing we spoke about. You know, when he was telling me about one of his mentors. What did you say it was?
Oh,
People only care about.
Yeah. So shout out to David. I haven't talked to him in a while, so it's been a minute. He's a realtor. He was one of the guys who taught me how to do like time blocking and like getting things done. So he had said like, there's two things on people's heads: make me feel important, and like, what can you do for me?
Yeah.
And like, I've always like kept that in mind. And he was just like, if you can do that, like, you would like open so many doors with people.
Yeah.
And then he was going on like same thing, like the feature videos that you were talking about. You make them feel important, and then what can you do for you? Well, I can provide a feature for you.
Yeah, I think it comes down to like, and I use this for all the things in creative field, but it comes down to that hierarchy of needs, right?
Yeah.
And one of the things is just feeling included in the tribe, right? Feeling important. It's status, or it's either what makes me money, what makes me a better status in the tribe, what gives me protection or like feel secure in my family, or stuff like that. So I feel our services sometimes, most of the time, offer one of those, right? Mm-hmm. It's your status, like, okay, look, I'm this person, this is why you should care about me and my business.
That's ethos.
Or it's make you money, right? It makes you resources. Like, this is my product, buy it. And then people see it and like, oh, that's a cool product. I never knew I needed slippers that look like cows. I'm gonna buy it, awesome. So, yeah, it's always about what you do, I feel, than who you are.
Yeah.
But I feel a lot of our work speaks to who we are already, right? So it's kind of ingrained in there, kind of like our past and like what we like to do and how we approach life. And for example, in your photos, like, you have a very unique way of seeing nature, I feel, and people, right? That's this very like raw almost feel, like this is how life looks in this particular place in this time, which could be rough but still looks beautiful, right? I think that comes to your upbringing in San Bernardino or something like that, I imagine.
Yeah. Well, for me, it was mostly, when I was doing photography in San Bernardino, it was mostly about documenting. I was a really big fan of Nat Geo, National Geographic, and I think most of my philosophy of photography came from there. I'm trying to branch away from that now, though. Like I said, we're working on our own thing, me and you together. And I want to be more focused on architecture now.
Right.
Be a media group that focuses on architecture and design and promoting that. You know.
What do you think pulls you to architecture and design?
I think I've always just been someone who admires it. You know, that's what I wanted to do before I got married, was do architecture, but I just,
Nice.
you know, you run out of time when you have a family, and you have to worry about finances and feeding your kids and so I think that's just my way of, since I gained all these other skills, like photography and media and marketing and networking, I think I'm just going to use those skills to go back towards architecture, but in a different route. Like, I'm not the architect, but maybe I could work with architects and meet architects and promote architecture and still work in that field without being an architect. And that's what
I think that's a cool aspect of the job, right? Of the places it takes you and the behind the scenes look you get at these. I don't know, one day you'll just be at a factory in the behind the scenes, right, where usually you never get into, right? Now you're seeing this whole like process in front of you, and you get this really unique access, I think. And that's one part I've always liked about the job.
And you can use, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but you can also use the Polycam app I showed you, and then you can just integrate that, and then send that, what is it, like blueprint or the building to an architect, and you can just go back and forth on that.
Yeah.
Like in the city, like that you live in, just send it off to an architect. Like, hey Jose, I know you live around that Big Bear area. I just need you to go to a couple buildings, film it, send it back to me. I'll give it to my architects, or the architect can talk to you about it. So like same thing like you're doing real estate photos, just doing 3D architect now through that.
So question, what is the Polycam app?
Polycam it's like one of the first apps that became pretty popular with taking 3D scopes, like sculpting. So we did this today. It's not as accurate like it used to, but
Oh, cool. So it's kind of like it uses LiDAR, I imagine, or something
yeah,
like that.
through whichever, like
and
this
it
one
makes
here.
a 3D model of your space.
Yeah.
That's super cool.
And then Alex is back, setting it his front. But yeah, the more steady you are, and you can do like 3D photos, like taking the photo of just like a shoe
Right.
or like a product, and then just like taking 100 photos of it, and then you can have like its own 3D. Then you can put that through Blender or whatever 3D that you want to render on.
Nice.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's a whole different market that's not even getting tapped because no one knows how to do it at all. So eventually,
How would you promote it if you work for them?
I mean, I would say like, are you an architect that's tired or that can't be at multiple places? It's like basic, but like eventually you'll trim it down where it's disguised as that. And then I can take care of your Beverly Hills. You're not in Los Angeles. You want to be like to get these Beverly Hills clients. Like I can go, since I'm local here, I can go to these houses, $1 million homes. We can eventually like the insurance or like clearance of background checks. So you can first take care of that. Like we're already background check and verified. So now your clients are secure that you're not welcoming a stranger. Like here's our badge number, here's whatever. Like you can check it, just like how Uber is. And I've seen other businesses do that.
Yeah.
And then go scan the whole house, because you can let the customer do it, but they're gonna, how do you do it? So I mean, I guess you sell the program, like the base model, you scan it yourself. If not, you don't know how to do it, we'll send someone out there to show you or do it for you. And then that's when you send all the plans back to us. And then if we need to go reshoot, then we'll just charge, or we'll charge you for a reshoot, or I don't know, something like that.
Yeah. I think that app might be better for an interior designer than an architect, because I think for architects, they need to do a lot of measurements. They do a lot of like measuring, as opposed to interior design. It's like, oh, okay, we have the space. We can take this 3D design and then change it up.
But even for like remodeling,
Yeah, like remodeling.
that's the same thing though as architect, or no?
Interior designers and architects, well, an architect would be like, I want to add a room. And so they would break down walls and be like, okay, there's these columns here that keep the building from collapsing.
Right.
How do we keep it from collapsing? Or how do we make this door that's square into like an arc? Like how do we make an arch? Or how do we, the client, it depends on what clients want too. So that might help a lot, but they need a lot more, because they need to look at the exterior, the interior, the materials, the landscape. Like if they're bearing on sand, it's different than working on dirt, like solid dirt or mud.
It's a whole world.
Yeah, it's like everything's different. So there's a lot of things that they have to take into account. But I think that app would be good for interior designers.
I think what I've seen, at least those like models done, is in like the real estate apps. Like, so you see a house and you can't see
that big old tripod.
Yeah, or I saw it for like an apartment. They showed like the plan.
Oh yeah, that's
or
smart
you do
too.
something like that.
But you
Scouting would be cool if you're like doing like a big project budget, like maybe video or something. You'd like to see the space a little bit more in depth if you're like out in our country at the time. That could be cool rather than just photos, right? You get a little bit 3D space.
And if you connect, I mean, let's say if you build a good relationship with the construction company, you know, they'll give you all the details on a database,
Right.
the materials we use. So you just plug it in, you do the house empty, and then you can go back and do it when it's full, so you know. And then that's when a customer comes if they want to remodel. It's more like long-term ROI because the houses need to get made first, and you gotta wait for people to move in to then want to do
Yeah,
that.
it'd probably be its whole niche and business on its own, I think.
I think that would
I
actually be
agree.
better for their main market to be like investors that own apartments. And then that way, instead of people physically going to the houses and opening it to like a lockbox, they could
Yeah,
get
they
a
just
tour.
look that. That's what I did. I was
Yeah.
looking at an apartment down in Tijuana, and they were closed, so they had a flyer. You scan the QR code, it takes you to this place that literally shows you this 3D like view of the apartment,
Yeah,
and it's cool.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
kind of nice. It's kind of like a video game.
it's like a great service, you know. So then you don't physically have to be there. Like clients don't have to, potential clients don't have to waste their time going to the place. They can just be like, oh, okay, this looks good.
No.
Maybe I'll buy it, and then it saves everybody time because you don't need someone to meet them there and open the door for them, and you know, it saves money.
I think it's all about the niche, all about what market you choose to grab and how you maximize your time there.
Yeah.
Something greens, probably like green, like shake.
So
Anyways, so I have a question for you, Andrew.
What's up?
Is something, because I see you're starting out your own like video, I guess not production, but creative director, I guess the right term. Please correct me.
For like the personal brand, I'd say creative director, but like I don't know if I want to do video production because like video production is like you gotta have the studio and sending it. I really don't know the terms, so I'm lost on like how the hell am I gonna start? I'm just only going off of what I know with Huntington Films, or just like, you know, go film. Eventually we'll hire out and then, you know, expand slowly. But I'm not trying to expand like crazy.
Right, because I had a question on that, just for my personal business, is something I struggle a lot with. I haven't done this solely by myself too much. I've usually been like hire freelance like that, and I'm kind of transitioning into that, my own like side business for now, right? But how do you go by choosing your clients? How do you avoid just choosing everyone, right? Like, oh, every client that comes in, yes, and then you have like 20 projects and you can't take them all on, and you have to tell one, that video I promised 2 months ago, I don't have it. So, and that's something I struggle with, and I kind of err on the side that I take very low clients because I'm very, very picky. And for me, it's not too much about the money, but about the story. I want to tell a story that, one, is good for my community in San Bernardino, tells the story of San Bernardino and helps like move it into the community I want to see it become, or just a really, really good story. And that's where I do. But I want to hear like what
I
you
mean,
do.
it depends on the field. So it's like two things: the business owner and then the field. So if I like filming in the field, whether it's construction, food, dealerships, college, you know, those are my main clients. And then the business owner, my client, if they're cool to work with.
Right.
So if I like filming it, I can be out there all day, like, let's go do it, and I'm not gonna get bored. And how would you say, eventually, if like one or the other, like the client sucks, but I love filming it, you can only do it for so long, and then it's like, I can't do it anymore. But when both of them are good, then it's like, okay, let me invest all my time,
Right.
build a relationship, and then eventually, once like they start seeing the growth on whatever platform I'm doing, or YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, then they see the value in it, like, okay, let's do that. I want to dominate in my market with those social medias. And then that's when I already have a good relationship with them, where it's like, well, it's going to end up costing more because now I'm going to really put my time into this.
Right.
So like now I'm making more money reoccurringly instead of throughout multiple different clients.
Yeah, have like quality over quantity type thing.
Yeah, because my own mentality was like, okay, like I was telling Jose, like, okay, I close this one, on to the next one, because that's not going to be, it's one and done. One video looks professional for the website and then done. Like now I'm trying to market, like, how can we do this every single month? And then you just figure out, like, what do they need? What are they interested in? You know, the discovery questions, like Christo says. Are you trying to market? Like, are you trying to push? Like, are you trying... Usually when you come to them with the questions, are you trying to recruit more? Or are you trying to just have branding more? Do you want to be talking, educating? Or do you want to just show off how good your service is or how badass it looks?
I love that I recently saw your video on the cake method, I guess. Or cake
Oh, yeah.
I love the whole thing.
Thank you.
I guess it goes to that, right? Like what like category you want to be in and how you want to just like push that, right?
Yeah.
Because for me, it's always been like more of what do you want to accomplish, right? I keep it kind of simple. Like, what do you want to accomplish, right? Is it impress the audience you'll have at the event? Is it get more donations? Is it this, or that, right? But I love that way of seeing it. Like, okay, this is what your category is, and plus then you do this. So it's kind of like breaking that down even more for the client.
Yeah.
Because I imagine for a lot of clients, that sometimes they don't know what they want or need, right? It's just I need a video because I need to sell more stuff, but I don't know exactly how to get there. So I love your method of doing that.
Well, because I'm coming from like monthly content and monthly stuff instead of where I used to think like, we got this one and done video, so the check is good at first, like whatever it is, 2,000 or 1,500 and up. It's like, it's good, but then that it's already done. Like the video is done, and then the next month it's like, okay, well, let's go get the next client for one big video, one and done. So then, like after over time, like a year and a half, you know, figuring out, okay, like how can we really do this? Okay, let's do just educating clients on certain things. So I kind of figured like this is how we can do it. I pitched them the ideas. Oh, that's pretty cool. Like let's try it. And then once it works, let's do more of this. Like let's double the content. Okay, well, like the budget's gonna go up more, of course, and they know, and we'll talk back and forth. Do you want it on a camera or do you want it on the iPhone? Because like these mics are so much easier where you can just connect it to the iPhone and then.
Yeah, plus the quality, I feel, not to like shy away from the topic too much, but I feel the quality nowadays on cell phones is so good. Like I don't know if you guys saw the iPhone event all filmed on iPhone.
Yeah, but if you look behind the scenes, it's like because it's
right, you got
$100,000 lights. Who's that? Did you post it or did you post it?
Right, you got the cranes with the $500,000 cranes and the tech crane, the lights and all that. But I feel even without that, you can still achieve like a really good product. Because you have a choice of lens now. I mean, kind of, you've always had that, but you have a little bit more. And you have ProRes, which for me is huge. It's editing. It's just easier to edit like higher quality footage versus like what comes out of like a Sony, for example. Or like a drone particularly is a bad offender in this. And with drone footage, I don't know why it's always hard to edit. It's just, I guess, too much bit rate or something.
Yeah, it's something about it. I have the same problem. So with the phone, it's a trade-off. Because you have your camera that all the memory goes in the SD card and you can put it on your hard drive. You have your phone, all the memory is on your phone. So then you're stuck with having it all. And if like for me, I have this problem where I'll film a lot of content within the month of October, but I'm making so much content for my other clients November that when I go back to film it or mid-November to edit October, I'm like, all right, where is all that content that I made? And then put it all together and then run it through CapCut. And then that's another file, making it, and then it just like makes the line just keeps expanding.
The organization and all that. And
so it's kind of hard to organize it. I haven't found a way, but I know that I can just create folders and putting
I think maybe Dropbox or like a storage service would help out a lot.
Definitely, and then iPhone creates MOV files, and those don't look good on Premiere Pro, unless they fixed it on Premiere Pro.
What?
There's a way to export it. There's like a special way you have to export it so it doesn't come
But what happens
highlights
is like
overdone. Like
that may be because you're shooting on HDR.
You know, I took that off. It's still, even if you still put like the Thomas shorts that you've seen, or even on Thomas, there's videos that looks like pale or like overexposed. That's because on iPhone, if you run it through Premiere Pro, like it just changes the color.
Something happens, yeah.
There's a way you can change color space in Premiere in order to probably match it. I've edited with iPhone footage on on Premiere and it doesn't happen. Well, maybe we can check that out.
I'll have to recheck because that's been going on for a cool minute. And then the video service that I clip up the clips, it doesn't take iMovie. iMovie.
MOV?
Sorry, MOV. Sorry, yeah, MOV. So then I gotta run that through Premiere Pro.
That's the great thing about ProRes. So we're going back to ProRes. It's this Mac specific, I think, codec that's so nice, it's so compact, so high quality, and it doesn't mess up your like color info. So
That's good.
I mean, I love ProRes.
I think that's my issue as a video editor, because I'm not really a videographer. Is I'm always too afraid to try other apps. Like I learned Premiere and I become faithful to that app because I'm like, I know this app, and so I spent hours learning about it. I don't want to go start new somewhere else, you know.
Right, same here. I've been slowly getting into DaVinci. I mean, I do quality grading, but the editing and the effects, it's DaVinci.
Yeah.
I think it's worth it to learn new apps. I've been learning Photoshop recently. I don't know much about graphic design, like probably you do too, but I've been learning Photoshop recently.
Yeah.
I think there's definitely a worth there. But going back to that about the whole client things, and maybe you can chime in on this, Jose. Like, what does the dream scenario look like for you? Is it a client that says, okay, I'm trying to build out this brand, say a dealership saying, I want you here for like 6 months and let's see what we can get done. And if you're still good, we'll like continue this relationship. Or you prefer like venturing out like different clients, not the one and done, like you say, because you want to avoid the one and done, but what does that partnership look like?
Fun. I think where it's a mutual agreement and it's like a good price where I can solely focus on that, and it kind of makes up for me not having to get more clients.
Right.
And it's also like an ideal thing would be like when I make content for you, just tag me. I can make content while I'm here, like behind the scenes stuff, and you're okay with it, because now I can leverage, hey, I'm working with this company for fun or whatever it is, behind the scenes stuff to post on LinkedIn to attract more other people in that same field. It would just be more, not notoriety, but just more like shout out, like, hey, thanks for helping us out, instead of like, we did it over here ourselves. But I don't know if that will ever happen.
I think that's an interesting thing, like the contrast between us two, because for me, it's really, I like give them the plan, give them the strategy, give them the video, and just disappear, right? I'm not too much on my online persona, but I see like huge value in what you do, right? And then building out like your whole brand, and then they're hiring kind of like the brand at the same time that they're hiring the service.
Yeah.
Because there's a huge value in that, right? You see it like all the time with people that go out and like they offer themselves too as the thing, and it brings in more business, it brings in more notoriety. So
because if you're not boots on the ground networking, then it's like you're screwed. So it's like, well, since I'm busy making content with other people, then let me make content that's networking without even me having to be there. So it's pretty much doing the same thing.
I love that. Networking without being there.
Not as effective, but definitely like it shows my personality. And then it's disguised as recruitment or to generate leads. This is what it's like when you work with me. This is how much fun you have, but without having to say it. It's like, he seems pretty cool. It makes it look easy. Like, let's do it. That's what we were doing with Huntington Films. Like, those guys look fun. Those guys look cool. I would want to work with them. Yeah. Let me call them. I already built that relationship through social media. Like, I feel like I know them.
It's kind of a car dealership like mentality, right? That, yeah, you can buy a car wherever. You can buy cars even online nowadays, but sometimes you want that personal connection. That, hey, that person that helps you out, or that person that like gives you all the details, and that real connection rather than just the product, right? Mm-hmm. You want the whole experience. You want to get there, get your coffee, your cookies, you get go over for your service, and it's nice. It's a nice place. Yeah. So there's definitely a huge value in that.
Yeah. What about Jose?
Yeah.
I think that has increased the value, like personal connection, like meeting people in person. And I think with social media, it's become so oversaturated with like so many people on there marketing, that the personal connection has become a lot more special. Like, you know, I feel like you guys are more open to working with me because we know each other personally, as opposed to if I met you guys online, it'd be like, oh, you know, this guy seems like a cool videographer. But I have this friend who's not that good of a videographer, but he's also my friend. I know him, I trust him. Right. You know, I know what he would charge me and everything, and I'm able to have these conversations with him just to help him. Another thing that I wanted to bring up, though, was I feel like, Andrew, you provide a service more than videography, because the way you broke it down, you were just like, we're going to do these videos and then we're going to see how they react. And that's more data and analytics than it is videography. Because you're more of like an analytical guy. Like, okay, here's 5 videos. Yeah. This 5th one performed the best. Let's do more like this 5th one. And we're going to do different variations, you know?
I've recently been obsessed with this idea of the 80-20 rule. That it was this guy in Italy, I think, that said like 20% of the people own 80% of the land. I feel that it kind of applies to a lot of things in life, where I feel, same with videography and kind of in your case, where 20% of the time you're filming. 80% of the time you're seeing like the trends, you're seeing what works, what doesn't work, what got the views, what didn't get the views, what people are reacting to, like what gets people at the door, right? So that idea of like the work behind the work, while we don't always love it, I mean, at least for me, I'd rather just be out filming, right? I'd rather just film as much as I can, just toss it to the editor and they'll do the job. But a lot of the job is the network. I love what you said, networking without being there. The creating that client relationship that's more like a partnership with that client. So it's fun for you, it's fun for them. Everyone's having a good time and getting the results they want to see. And yeah, like you said, it's more than just the video. It's the service.
And what you were saying, like I do that because when I was filming on Huntington Films, I pushed so much content out. Okay, what works? This one works. Let's do that for Valley High, or sorry,
Valley College.
Valley College.
San Diego Valley College. Shout out.
Same thing. It's the same thing as Valley High Toyota. So Valley High, Valley College. So that one worked for the college. Now let's do that same one and do it for a Toyota dealership. That same one, do this for the other business, my other client. So it's so crazy. Like you're right about doing like that's like those campaigns. Like do 5 campaigns, whichever one works. It generates more leads. Let's go with that one. Invest all the money in that.
So that's actually a good like educational moment. Like what would you recommend to people out there like watching this that are like trying to find out what works? Because it can be very stressful, right? I imagine for you to like when I heard this on your podcast with Alejandro, that you like sometimes the videos don't perform and you're like, why aren't they performing? I'm like, dude, I bet this should be like working. Like what tips do you have like those people that are starting out in the social media world, like how to find those, right? Like how to get there.
Just fucking make content. I don't really like. I get stressed because now people are judging like, well, how many views was it worth it this month to pay you? Where before it was like, I make content for fun and the views will start coming organically. It's usually when you're stressing and having to push content out, it's like performs low. And compared to like just genuinely like, let me just make content and then it's genuine. And
I love that mentality so much I wrote down, just fucking make content. Because I feel that goes also to the philosophy behind this podcast. Like, you're like, you know, we're in a break room, let's just shoot it. Let's put the camera up and let's go. Rather than thinking like, oh, is this the properly treated room? Is this like, do we have the right mics? Do we have the right? And then you never make the podcast, right? You're just thinking that you never do it. And we have someone heckling us.
Okay, I'm gonna grab my tea.
That reminds me of
I was like, let me just walk away.
like this social media page, and he was talking about how he found his success was by accident. Like he started creating content that he liked, and then it's just like how Andrew said, he saw what worked and he just started doing more of that. And so now he does like unboxing videos.
Oh, cool.
Like he started like, oh, like here's the tech stuff, and he realized that people didn't really care to see the tech reviews, they just wanted to see it get unboxed.
Right.
And then like have like the ASMR, like they were more into that than they were his opinions. So then he just stopped giving opinions and just started making these silent videos where he just has like the sound of stuff, and that worked. And it's just,
I guess you can't really get to that if you don't lose that fear of just creating, right?
Yeah, just
which for me is a big thing, right? Is that voice in my head, if it's not perfect, I'm not gonna release it, right? Like I have like 2 videos like I filmed a while ago that I never released because I'm just like, it's not perfect, it's not perfect. I should, yeah, exactly, but it's just from that just like insecurity, like it is not perfect yet, it's not perfect yet. It's like you keep on chiseling it and it's never gonna come out, right? Because you keep on like hitting it, and it's good as nothing because it's not a good return.
yeah, and so I think as I'm a perfectionist too. I feel like I'm very like too meticulous for social media. I feel like I think too much about like, oh, this isn't really as good as I feel I can make it. Maybe if I buy some lights, and then I'll get a higher quality camera, and then I'll get this, and I'll get that, and then maybe I'll create the content that I think is worth sharing. Right. Well, there's the other guy who's like, oh, I got this phone and a mic, and I'm gonna go eat a burrito in my car. Right. They eat the fucking burrito in the car, and that shit gets like 234,000 likes. And then the next day they're like, okay, I'm gonna do that again in another place.
But to play devil's advocate, there's like 2 sides to the art form, right? There is the like chasing views, which for me isn't too important. I don't really care.
Yeah.
And there's the art form itself, right? And then you have like that mentality of Picasso working in his basement for 5 months for one like stroke, and he just can't get it right. So he's like there and there and there. But obviously that's not realistic, right? You can't be in the lab for like a whole year just working on one video, because I mean you can, but it's not gonna be profitable.
I think also it is based on your goals too, because
Right.
like I used to take social media very seriously. Like I was like, oh, if I do a lot of good here and I get a lot of likes, you know, maybe I'll get clients. That was my philosophy. And I used to get like 1,000 likes on pictures and all types of likes, but it never really pushed out the clients I wanted.
Yeah,
And
same
so
here.
I'll give you an example. It was like I have a sister-in-law who is a chef, you know, and she makes like she charges like $100,000 per. No, she charges $100 per pound of meat because she does Wagyu beef from Australia. You're not gonna sell that to everybody, so it doesn't really matter about does she have 100,000 views on her videos, does she have 200,000 views. It's more important that she finds clients in her budget.
Yeah.
So it's better for her to find 2 or 3 clients that are willing
Yeah.
to pay her like that amount than it is to have 1,000 people know she exists, but then 0 of them have the money to even afford her product. You know.
Same happens with fundraisers, right? You're trying to target that high impact individual, right? And that high impact individual is not on TikTok, right? Most of the times they're on Facebook or on YouTube or on an ad,
sometimes they don't
or on
even
a
use social
magazine.
media.
Sometimes they have to see a magazine, or so it depends on your goals, right? Like what do you want to accomplish, right? And that's always the fun part, is like figuring out this whole stuff.
Now, so hearing both the guys now on the other side of, you know, hitting the millions of views, and I'm not even trying to flex whatsoever, just because.
Flex, go ahead.
No.
It's your show.
Yeah.
No, fuck no, fuck
We
no.
know what you're doing.
No,
So it's
no,
not a
no,
flex. It's just a fact.
No. So,
Yeah.
but like, from those million, you don't really generate less than 1% of clients.
Right.
Because how did the video, why was it so successful? Because it was funny, or because it was relatable? Well, relatable to whom? To videographers? Am I hiring? Are videographers hiring me?
Exactly.
Business owners, marketing directors are hiring me.
Exactly.
So that's not 100. That's not a million marketing directors. That's a million videographers, for instance.
Yeah.
So like, I need to figure out a way how to now network to marketing directors and business owners. So like, my content needs to be targeting that instead of videographers. Because you look at my page, it's all videographers, which is cool. I get affiliate links from like, hey, like what you were saying, you're targeting this 10% or 1% of the market, getting these videographers' attention, and here's some products, or how much would you charge us for that? So it's another form of like bringing money in, but that's not generating.
I was gonna say exactly that. At the same time, you're priming yourself for if one day you want to release a product, right? And that's a whole other world, manufacturing and all that. But say you make, I don't know, a pair of pants. Like, these are the best videography pants. And suddenly you have this network.
Hey, we're laughing because we're like, I can see myself.
Yeah, right? It's like these super cool cargo pants.
I buy some pants.
Yeah, I buy some pants too, honestly. If anyone out there selling videography pants. But you're setting this prime market for when you do want to do that product, right? So you have those million videographers, and they're like, oh, I could spend $25 on some pants.
Yeah.
And I like this guy, so I'm also supporting him. So it goes into that. So you're opening up markets at the same time by doing this content that could not be there. So
And I think
I
it's
see the value in that. But I'm also more shy and I don't do it. So.
But definitely, like, also, so that's the first part, and then the second part is I'm also the other person who just said, fuck it, like, I don't need it to look professional. Let me just put it out. And that's where it got me to, you know, being able to produce the content, and then eventually it starts perfecting, like, the more I do it by throwing myself out there.
Love it.
And because I get a lot of people the same thing that you guys are saying, like, I have this one idea, but I'm just waiting for the lights to get delivered. And it's like,
For the
whenever
sun to
that
be in
gets
the
delivered-
perfect spot.
And-
for the eclipse that happens three times
And I
every
tell them,
100
like,
years.
just fucking post it.
I love
Who
it.
the fuck cares? Like,
Yeah.
and I'm telling you, well, at least you guys know my background, like, and the results that I do. It's because of, I just say, fuck it, let's just do it
I love
and
it.
post it, instead of, you know, let me get this and my ducks align when
And
the
I feel like
planets
there's
align.
so much like creative freedom with that too.
Yeah.
It is.
You could just like start making stuff just because you
Didn't
want to make
hit,
it.
next one. Didn't hit, next one.
Like that Halloween
Damn, that shit
video you
hits.
made, that got like 400,000 likes, 400,000
Yeah, man.
views.
So
Yeah.
like, same thing. Like that was off fucking random. Thomas and I went to the Halloween store. I was like, let me just buy a mat. It was supposed to be for my other client, my HVAC client. Then we came back here. I was like, why not just make like that's if Ghostface came here. And then we were walking past the Culinary Arts building. I'm like, maybe let's ask in there because they have a kitchen. There's knives. And then we walked right back there, talked to them. Hey, we have this video idea. Can we do this? Yeah, go ahead. And then we just fucking filmed it right then and there.
That's dope.
And
that's awesome.
Posted it. It didn't perform good at first, and then eventually, like Instagram, sometimes it does perfect right then and there, or it takes like a week, and then it's like, okay, now the views start coming. I'm like, oh shit.
That's dope.
Instagram is weird.
But it was good content at the end of the day. That's why it also grew more, right?
Yeah.
Because even if it goes viral, I feel it only goes viral to a point, right?
Yeah.
It has to be good content for it to then go that next step, right? Go to get that like last like virality.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess just not to make the podcast too long, I do want to like hit one thing before we end is because you're experiencing this. Jose, probably with your business, you're going to experience this soon too. But something that's happened to me, and I have like a lot of struggle with it. How do you balance like when you start your business? People all have like businesses we're starting and growing. Taking it slow versus rapid growth, right? So, because I've been in a production company where it grows really quickly, but then it's a chaos because then who's doing the paychecks for the employees, who's charging, who's doing this, who's doing the marketing. So, becoming too big too fast is, I feel is a problem. It's something it's made me fearful of getting too much clients. Like going back to what we were saying, too much clients or little clients. So, for example, for you, Andrew and Jose, how do you like balance going slow but surely versus this explosion of like getting the millions of views like you do and like what you do now, right? You prefer like go fast, like make content now, go fast, or you prefer like to take it slow and build it out?
I don't know, man. Mine's different though, because mine is like my content that I make. It's like it's a niche market and it's not really profitable yet.
Yeah.
Because like I said, it's not hitting the marketing directors or business owners, but I can show them that like I can do this for your business. Just let me, which I have with the AC business, a color matching business, Toyota, college. So like I'm able to perform it now, but I don't even know. I've never been like in a big or had a scale. Like I'm barely starting to do it myself, so I have no idea. Jose probably has more info on that.
Then, because you use the AI app too, the one that does like the podcast. Like
No, I haven't used that yet.
Oh, you haven't used it? The one that you showed me?
Which one?
You showed me one that you could take like an hour-long podcast and the AI cuts it.
Oh yeah, that's a video, but it doesn't take video, but it doesn't take MOV file. That's the thing.
Oh, I see.
So that's why I filmed it on this camera instead of my.
On the phone.
Yeah, because I knew like there's gonna be a lot of educational shit that we were gonna say, so I was like, let me put it on that, and then I can just clip up like
the transcript
and then just send it to video.
Right.
And it takes like 15 minutes, and it pushes back all that clips out for me.
Right. So Jose, have you thought about that at all? Like, if you do grow, would you rather like have rapid growth and go really fast, or would you rather just do slow and steady? And
I think it's really based on the business you have, you know. I think for me personally, of course, I'd probably want to go slow because I have a very niche audience I want to go to because it's like more of a passion project. But I feel like if you're promoting something like a restaurant or you're promoting like a college, like Valley College, numbers are the most important because it's all based on headcount,
right.
you know. But like in regards to us, like we're a service, you know, we can't be two places at once. We would want to promote to the highest bidder as opposed to promote to everyone.
Right. Is that you rather do the highest bidder, or like Andrew was saying, and where he can find the relationship that will grow into a partnership?
I think for me, for what I'm doing personally, because I like architecture and interior design, I care more about partnerships. People that are passionate about that same, like, that same, how do you say, topic.
Field.
Yeah, you know, the same field, same topic. So obviously partnerships are more important to me because I would want something that, oh, this person's an architect, I could work with this architect again, or I could work with this person again.